gotta hold. Just know that it's gonna be right. All you see to do is lie. Those days are gone. I want control. What's going? When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things we took, I know that I'm so much better. When I look at what it's like, and feel apart. When I look at what it's like, I know so much. I know so much better. I'm moving strong, I'm moving on. I'm alright. When I think about the way we used to be, when I think about the things we took, I know that I'm so much better. When I look at what's like, and feel apart. When I look at what's like, I know so much. I know so much
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to our show. This is Timeless Gamer, where the games and gamers grow older while the gaming experiences will forever remain timeless. Your gaming podcast show brought to you by Pinoy Retro Gaming. And we are now live in Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And for all of our archive videos, and you can just go to our YouTube channel, which is Timeless Gamer PRG. And for all of you guys who just want to listen to us talk, that's fine. You can now listen to us in Audible, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast by searching in Timeless Gamer. And happy holidays, everyone! And this is our last episode for the year 2022. And yes, it's I know it's not a Sunday, everyone. So it's Saturday right there in Manila, on that side of the world anyway. One of the main reasons was because we are going to be busy on the next coming few days to prepare for for Christmas and the New Year. Every member of Pinoy Retro Gaming and Timeless Gamer will be busy with will be busy. Having their times with their family and friends for Christmas and the New Year. So might as well just do this one last episode for 2022. Just a look back of all of our gaming experiences for the year 2022 and what 2022 means in terms of the gaming community in general. So this episode is brought to you by Sir Dan, right there. Speaking of which, coming all the way from the UK, Sir Dan, the man, how are ya?
All right, thank you very much. Good to see you both.
All right. And all the way to the New Jersey, Sir Banyaga native, Sir Joel.
Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are. A Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever your special events for the month are. We're very happy that you're having them, and we're very happy that you're here joining us for a short moment. Just to have a good time as well.
All right. So, well, it's just the three of us for now, guys. But
Mm.
hopefully, the others might be able to join in. We're doing this a little bit early than the usual because at 8 p.m., Pinoy Retro Gaming will also going to be having their podcast in celebration of their Christmas party right there at Nueva Ecija, Philippines. So shout out to the people right there, our brothers and sisters, Pinoy Retro Gaming having their Christmas party. Happy, Merry Christmas from all of us. Well, the three of us here. We will be joining you later on after this program. So I will
Live
give
via
it that
satellite. Live via
live
satellite.
via
All three,
satellite.
all of us are going to be joining you guys over there.
For this episode, guys, we will be giving it to Sir Joel to helm the show, and yeah, it's just a free for all conversation in regarding with our gaming experiences for the year 2022. So, Sir Joel, take it away.
Abs- Absolutely. All right. So today's episode is just gonna be nice, relaxed. Everybody's just gonna be tossing in their opinions, just general. Yeah, we call it inuman in the Philippines, where basically we just sit around with a drink in front of us and just shooting the breeze, remembering everything that happened for back in 2022. But first things first, I want to have a look at the messages here in the comments, in the chats, and of course, we have our regulars, Miss Charlene Alisa San Agustin of Miss Honoka 99. Hopefully, they'll be able to join us later. But if not, I'm absolutely sure we're going to be seeing them again. We're going to be seeing them in the party anyway. There's also Paulo Christopher Fernandez, the pricklier half of Miss Charlene Alisa San Agustin. And you know how some fruits are nice and smooth and some fruits are nice and prickly, like jackfruits. Yeah, that's us. That's us Filipinos when it comes to couples. And of course, Jello Salcedo Cayabo, who says, "Let's go." That's Jello WTF and Gomer Kaasi. There you go. Of Tito Goma, if I remember correctly. I am terrible when it comes to remembering handles, but I always remember the people who hang around with us here in the chats. Thank you very much, Gomer. It's nice to see you. Very, very happy that you're here. He says, "What's up, Boss Joel, Boss Joe, and Dan?" Excellent. There you go. And of course, long time Tito Joe Jello says, "Yeah, I know. I haven't had the chance to really stream lately, but hopefully that'll change sometime next year. I'll try to maintain a more regular schedule on Twitch because, well, life catches up with you, and the fact that everybody is busy at this season and you guys are taking the time to hang around with us. We are very, very thankful for that, and we are very, very happy that you're here. All right, so let's see. 2022. Yeah, let's start it off with a round from our panelists here. What was 2022 for you? Let me ask Joe first.
Nothing but misery.
Oh
Lot
my
of
goodness.
sleepless nights. And not because of
Really?
gaming, but sir. Well,
Go
I've been
ahead.
meaning to. Just you know me, guys. So my daughter just turned 1, and all throughout that time, I stopped playing. Like I remember, I stopped playing Button Kaitos at November. That's the
Mm.
time when my daughter was born, and I stopped entirely. I stopped my stream of Button Kaitos for the Nintendo GameCube. And every once in a while, I would be playing bits and pieces there, but I'm not, offline. I'm just, I'll play a few minutes of this, a few minutes of that, and then that's it.
Mm.
But mostly for 2022, despite me not playing, I don't know how much I spent just buying stuff, buying gaming related stuff, and not for the lack of trying, only because ever since doing this show
Mm.
and meeting Sir Dan, um, with Sir Dan here, Sir Joel, Sir Ray, Sir Carlo. when we're doing when we started doing the show all together, especially with season 5,
Mm,
there were a lot of topics that I really wanted to get really immersed with.
mm.
Like for example, the Sega episodes, the SNES episodes that I wanted Sir Dan to be proud of me. So I actually bought a Mega Drive.
Oh, there you go.
And I was very
Well-
proud of you, Joel. Very proud.
I bought myself a Mega Drive, and I never thought that I would be buying a Mega Drive, an actual Mega Drive, not the Mega Drive Mini. I can't find a cheaper one yet
Mm.
here in Australia. Anyway, so I bought this one because I wanted Sir Dan to be proud of me. But cartridges are expensive as hell, so I got myself an EverDrive, and that's the next best thing anyway.
I have to admit, the SNES and Mega Drive generation have really shot up in price recently. It's especially the much rarer stuff. In the old days, back in 2015 or 2016, during some of my earlier convention hopping days, you could just see them piled there, and you could still complete your rare Genesis Mega Drive collections or SNES collections without a problem. Nowadays, I do notice it's really getting hard. But you continue your story, Joe. Go ahead.
What else? Because of Sir Joel's, I don't know. Sir Joel is one of those game whisperers. When he says, "Oh, yeah, you should probably get this while you can," and I'm like, I have my funds prepared for something, and then Sir Joel will suggest something, and then for some reason I just go with it. So I bought another PS Vita, saying that Vita is a good emulator for the handheld, and
It is.
and I completely agree.
Mm.
So I bought a new one. It's right there with the box.
Mm-mm. There you go.
And ever since we did the mini episodes, I haven't really paid attention with the minis. But for some reason, after doing the mini episode, I got an SNES mini. I got an NES mini. I got a PS1 Classic.
Mhm.
I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
That's what you call the peer pressure and influence of like-minded people.
Ever when we did the Nintendo DS episode, I already got a 3DS. I'm like, why would I even buy a DS anyway? But sadly, I bought one anyway. So I bought a DS. It's right there.
Oh,
So I bought a
there's
DS.
a reason.
just to
There's a
play-
reason for that.
just
The
to play
DS,
game.
yeah, the DS is I think the last handheld, the last handheld that can still play GBA games. I could be wrong on that, Dan. Am I
Correct.
correct on that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Sir Dan, not just a DS. So I bought a DS Lite and the OG DS.
Mm.
Why would I even why would I even buy two?
it's just
For
it's an
collection
addiction, mate.
purposes.
Just an addiction.
So I just bought
Mm-mm.
two. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to play some DS games and GBA games, I mean, the DS Lite would have been would have been enough. But no, I bought the OG DS as well for some reason.
This is what I feel. This is what I feel Joe is doing. He's building a museum at home for his kid to have a look at while she's growing up, and and Joe can conduct lectures. All right, kid, this is what it looked like in the old days. This is what we used to play with. All of your hologram thingies, that didn't exist yet.
I bought for the books. I also like my history, of course. Sir Joel is also one of those historians that we have here in the show. So I got the JRPG book, the history of JRPGs, and just recently Fight Magic and Items, the soft cover.
Yes.
I think I got Console Wars the other year, and Once Upon a Atari the other year as well. So I don't think those count.
Mhm.
There are a lot of stuff that I bought for 2022. I mean, I might take a little bit of time just showing them all to you guys, but we'll tackle that later. Well, anyway, I have other stuff to share, but we'll talk about them as soon as we go.
Mm. All right, so that is Joe's quick rundown in 2022. Right in between, we are just going to have a look at the chats again. My apologies, Gomer. It was Jinku's Gaming Hub. That's Jinku's Gaming Hub. Gomer Kaasi's page. Please check his page out. Give him likes, follow, subscriptions. We streamers live or die by your likes. So thank you very much to everybody who gives their likes, who gives their follows and everything. We are very, very happy. And make sure that you check out Jinku's Gaming Hub because he's a really, really good streamer also. We'd also like to say hi to Big Bike Gaming, who says 19 hours. Is it 19 hours before a big event? Well, I'm not quite sure what Big Bike Gaming is talking about there, but I'm absolutely sure it's something very significant. And JDM Juan de Marcos, one of our semi-regular panelists here on Timeless Gamer, who says, "Welcome to Timeless Gamer, everyone." And Dabe Palomares, who says, "We won 1, 2, 3, go. We won 1, 2, 3, go." Yep, we do. We do won 1, 2, 3, go. Very cool. Let's see. Let's see. And of course, Sir Pao says, we call it in Filipino as lason budol. It's a term that we have in the Philippines who says if somebody influences you to buy something, then you call it lason or budol. All right. And of course, now we are going to Dan's 2022 quick rundown. Like, what was 2022 for you, Dan?
Well, from a life point of view, I've moved house, so a lot of my I've got a few games behind me, but most of my games are boxed up now. These are things that I've just picked up cheap before, so I'm actually playing a lot on emulation now. Because I'm mainly a retro gamer, and a lot of my games, I think now they're packed away. I don't want to unpack them, so I'll probably will be moving again in the next year or two. So that was that really. But the main thing really for me has been a few years back, 4 or so years back, I started a 16-bit playthrough, which I'm basically intending to play through all the games I've got, which is probably around 1,000. And I've now got to this year I've finished around as good as finished around 250 retro games, all 16-bit games. So been a lot of that, and trying to stay on top of some new releases as well on the PS4 and on the PC. So.
You really should be streaming your gameplay, Dan. I'm absolutely sure it's going to be entertaining.
Yeah, to be fair, I kind of do it quite sporadically, so I'm not really bothered. But I probably will look at doing that in future. I think when I get towards near the, I started this year on G. I got up to G, and I'm now on P. So
there you go.
I think when it's finished, which will probably be about another year or 18 months, I think I might go back to revisit the games and stream some of the
You're going alphabetically then, I see.
Yes.
There you go.
This makes it easy to keep hold of. And I've done it purposely because of the Sega Nintendo, which is the best. You know what I mean? I'm like, loads of people say, this is whichever side, Sega or Nintendo, but they'll say this is the best. I'm like, is it actually fair to say that until you've played a good portion? You know what I mean? And I've played about 400 games at the minute, and I want to at least get to 1,000 before I can say, right, that's my
absolutely.
Final opinion.
Objectively speaking, you at least have to have not just touch, but at least gone through a semi-significant portion of the game that you're trying to compare, the games that you're trying to compare, for you to be able to give a balanced opinion on both of them, or whichever ones that you're going to compare. And I think the approach that you're doing is pretty effective on that one, Dan, because you have to be able to weigh it properly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of brilliant games that a lot of people just haven't played, so they dismiss them straight away. Do you know what I mean? A lot of people, like say on a Facebook group, they'll turn around and say, "I've never heard of Blades of Vengeance." So it can't be a good game. And I'm like, actually, that's probably one of the best action RPGs I've played of that era on any system. You know what I mean? So they'll turn around and say, "Oh, yeah, but Secret of Mana," and I'm like, Blades of Vengeance for me,
yeah,
far better than Secret of Mana.
Uh,
So you know, it's only fair you give them games a chance, really.
Agreed. I guess it's also probably because the modern gaming era is a product of hype. Everybody is going through. Everybody's basing their opinions on how much hype a game has, or has ever had. And for them, once a game is super hyped, then their opinion is based on that. The fact that, oh, this game is super hyped, so it must be really, really good. I've never heard of that game, so it must be terrible. So it's really not a fair basis for forming an opinion. But people. I guess. I
Yeah,
guess that, yeah.
not on me.
I guess that's it. All right, so those are our 2022 opinions. My personal opinion, 2022. It was still amazing. It was still a lot of fun. Every single day is a blessing, and so many things that we do every single day, week, month of 2022 has been fairly chaotic, but I'm just here to enjoy the ride, because of the fact that everything that happens for a reason for me, and I try my very best to come away with a good lesson from all of it. Speaking of which, we'll touch on the biggest gaming news of 2022. If anything has happened in 2022, there has been a lot of gaming news that really popped out. Let me just toss one out there, and let's see if our other panelists and people in the chats, if they can toss in their opinions of the gaming news of 2022. For me, the one that really leapt out at me was, personally speaking, the Google Stadia debacle. If and that people are not familiar, Google went into the streaming arena of games. Streaming games is starting to become a big thing here in the United States, and I'm absolutely sure over in the UK as well, and soon enough in other parts of the world. It's kind of like Netflix, except with video games. So basically, you can choose a video game that you want. You can play it. You don't have to install it on your PC or your console. You can play it through the cloud. It's running on somebody else's computer over there. It's basically magic to somebody like me who's 50 years old already, and you're playing a game through the air. So in this case, Google got into it with this thing called Stadia. An example of cloud gaming is Microsoft Game Pass. That's basically it. And Google wanted a piece of that pie. So Google came out with this thing called Stadia. It was a thing where you could play games through the cloud using Google Chromecast devices, if I remember correctly, and they gave you a free controller with it, and near the middle part of it, to really encourage people to try to play it. They really pushed it, and sad to say, people really didn't bite into it because of the fact that, my personal opinion is that people wanted. Well, number one, the infrastructure wasn't there yet for Google. The initial part of the introduction of the streaming thing, the game's lagged. You press a button and the character on screen jumped up about half a second after, which was unacceptable latency for a lot of video gamers. Another thing is that the price of Stadia games was terrible. Digital games in the Stadia marketplace came out at $60 still, the same price as a physical copy, and people and gamers just really weren't having that. If they gave away the Stadia for free almost, and people still had to buy the games at $60. It's like the razor blade approach. You would buy the razor blade for cheap. You would buy the razor for cheap, but the blades would be exorbitantly expensive. So that really didn't go over well with people. Despite the fact that later on the life of Stadia, there were a lot of discounts, but it wasn't enough to keep it going. So eventually, I think it was in September, if I remember correctly, the Google announced that it was shuttering Stadia. They were not producing it anymore, and it just became a footnote in video gaming history. But I'm absolutely sure people are going to look back at it and say, there was something there. And who knows, maybe Google will get into it again sometime in the future. All right, let's ask Dan. Is there a particular piece of gaming news in 2022 that came out at you?
I mean, to be honest, I think you've touched on it with the hype scenario.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of stuff hyped up which just came across as hyped. So for example, let's say Final Fantasy 16. There have been a lot of hype around Final Fantasy 16. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't like. It looks like a cheap Witcher ripoff meets Devil May Cry. There's not really been that much from a news standpoint that's grabbed me, to be honest. I think as far as future gaming goes, there's not really been much that's grabbed me at all. All the hype and all the good times I've had in 2022 have all been the here and now and actually stuff I've played or stuff I've got involved with.
Wow. Having a look at right now, for those of you in the audio portion, Joe is kind of showing what Final Fantasy 16 is going to be looking like. It feels like I guess you can see that it's an action RPG now. It's not a turn-based RPG, which you can see Joe shaking his head vehemently right now. He's shaking his head like crazy, because me and Joe, we're turn-based guys. We're turn-based RPG
Actually,
guys.
me, Sir Joel, and Sir Dan, all of us are turn-based guys.
I mean, we love turn-based games.
I love action RPGs too. I really enjoy action RPGs. But I think this it's signifying. I mean, it's been on a downturn anyway for me, Final Fantasy, for a long time. But it's this type of. It's not just Final Fantasy. It's like every game I'm looking at now. It looks like this. It all looks the same. You know what I mean? There are different ones, and funnily enough, Super Sega are one of the main ones that are champion the turn-based genre with the likes of Persona and then SMT with Atlas. But Final Fantasy 16, I'm like, how many times have I seen this before? Why carry on down this path for Final Fantasy when it's got so many fans? That were built on a turn-based thing. So
it's come to the point where it's this type of gameplay, or shall we say, what's the right word for it? The feel of it has reached a certain hegemony. How do you pronounce that word? Hegemony or hegemony, where it's almost all consistently the same thing over and over again. I guess it's the fact that developers or companies making these games are seeing that people are leaning towards it, and that's actually making money. So everybody wants to get in on it and jump on the bandwagon. And sad to say, it's not beneficial to us gamers looking for variety or innovation in the scene. I guess in our case, what happens is that since everybody tries to copy everybody else, we start to gravitate towards the indie games. I guess a lot of people are starting to gravitate towards indie games, and that's where the innovation is nowadays. Well, let's ask Joe. How about Joe? What is the big piece of 2022 gaming news that leapt out at you this year that really made an impression on you and made you think, this is significant, this is something that is going to be impacting video gaming going forward?
Well, just to piggyback on what Sir Dan and Sir Joe mentioned earlier, regarding Final Fantasy 16, guys, if I'm going to take the Final Fantasy 16 footage, right, and I'm gonna take a few characters from Valkyrie Profile Elysium, I'm gonna take a few characters from Demon Souls, from Elder Ring, then I'm going to jumble all them together.
Yeah,
like, who will know the difference?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Agreed.
I mean, the look, the aesthetic of things, the game design, the overworld design, like it all mashed up. And say what you will, I mean, even Tales games, I mean, at least the Tales games are a little bit more anime-ish in their art, so you still kind of have this distinction away from the pseudo-realism humanoid forms designed
That's
with
true.
the current RPG games. say what you will about the Persona and the Shin Megami Tensei games from Sega. At least with Namco Bandai and the Persona Shin Megami Tensei, Atlas, you still got that anime-ish design that even if they're going to do a hack and slash kind of action RPG aesthetic, at least you can at least your base being full that okay, it's not as the same as the current Final Fantasy lineup that we have currently. What's the other Final Fantasy that was released recently? Stranger
Strangers of
Stranger Paradise.
Stranger Paradise. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
Stranger Paradise.
It's supposed to be a remake of the very first one, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so if I'm going to play that and then jump to Final Fantasy 16, if I don't know any better, those two would be interchangeable. Design wise, I mean, anyways, I would still buy the game though.
What can I say? We're collectors. We're not just game players. We're not just streamers. We're collectors as well.
I mean, we can bitch and moan about Square Enix doing this kind of stuff, but they'll like, bitch, you're gonna still buy this anyway. So.
Yeah, but it's about how you buy it, isn't it? So I will play Final Fantasy 16 at some point. I have no intention of paying full price for it or buying it.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. I mean, with Stranger of Paradise came out, I'm like, I'm gonna hold out. I mean, sure, the aesthetic looks amazing, but no, I'm not gonna buy full price just for this. So, like a year after it was released, then I saw it on sale, like at half the price on our local EB games, and like, well, it has finally come to fruition. Okay, finally dropped down to price. Okay, then I'll buy it. Sure, fine. I already got it. It's right there.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, I'm just gonna look at you for now. I'm not sure when I'm going to play it, but I said at least I got you. I might do the same thing for Final Fantasy 16. Oh, Final Fantasy Crisis Core Reunion just came out.
Yeah. There's that.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
And as much as I love Final Fantasy 7, which to much surprise of to all of you guys down there, I haven't played the original Final Fantasy 7.
Mental.
And I'm like, so sure. So I got the Final Fantasy 7 remake day one and integrate day one. Not that much. Not that impressed. At this stage, I'm just waiting for it to be a little bit more complete before I can play it. Because as far as I know, that they're just releasing it in parts.
Episodic, if I remember correctly, yeah.
Episodic, and I don't want that. So I'll just wait for all of the games to be for all of the series to be completed. Then I'll play it. Right?
In all likelihood, though, Joe, they are going to be making it so that they're going to be re-releasing the entirety of the series on PlayStation 5, probably in an integrated package sometime in the future. They're just doing it right now as a as an episodic thing because probably because of PS4. PS4 is still very much lively in the market. Not everybody. I think it was Juan de Marcos who said in the chats, who said 2022 in gaming, we still don't have enough PS5 stocks. It's true. It's absolutely true. There's still no such thing as a I still can't walk into a Walmart or a Target and get one off the shelf. Yes, go ahead.
Speaking of PS5 news, right? So, but it's been 2 years since the release of the PlayStation 5, ladies and gentlemen, and because of the whole pandemic, certain chips, software, hardware, microchips, and the necessities to make them PS5s are severely limited due to cost cutting and manpower issues. So the production has been lackluster, to say the least.
Lackluster. That's not the word I would have used. I would have used terrible.
I mean, the for the lack of a better word, lackluster production to say the least. But
Mm.
for some reason, we don't have enough stocks, right? But Sony announced that they're going to increase the price
Oh
for the
yes.
PlayStation 5.
Mm.
Originally, it was $500, I believe,
$500. Yes.
around $500, $500 guys.
Yes.
And then just I don't know, like 2-3 months ago, they said, "Oh, we're going to increase the price to what, $600 or $700
I don't recall.
for basically the same
Mm.
basically the same unit." I mean, it's not like a PS5 Pro. I mean,
Mm.
I can understand if it's a PS5 Pro, but no, you're getting the same base model for almost like 20% for a 20% price increase. And
Yeah.
you would wonder why. Is it because of the necessities to make one, or is it manpower issues? I mean,
How about
it's not
yeah?
really clear.
Let's hear what Dan has to say about that. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, mate. I think we've talked about this before. I don't believe the PS5 actually exists.
Yeah, same here.
It's a myth.
I've never
it's just
seen one in the wild ever.
exactly. I mean, in
Well-
my case, it's not a real thing unless I can walk into a Walmart or a Target, see it off the shelf, see it on the shelf, have an associate pick it up for me, and then I can buy it on the counter. That's not happened in the past 2 years, and I think it did hit its 2-year anniversary already, and it still hasn't happened, which is terrible. I do remember it happening during the Wii days, but it took me about a year before I could get myself a Nintendo Wii, and that was terrible already back then. Now it's still happening with the PlayStation 5. I actually have an Xbox Series X sitting around right now, waiting for me to be able to open it, but I haven't had much of a reason for it. Now the PS5, there's even less of a reason for me to get a PS5 now, because looking at the game selection that's exclusive for PS5, it's still not real yet.
No,
It's still
no,
not
there's no-
happening.
There's nothing. I look at the PS5 library,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
there's not enough there
Mhm.
to entice me to buy one.
There is no
I'm
justification.
like, all the games I've got on the
Mhm.
PS4.
Mhm.
Sorry, all the games that are on the PS5 remastered, I've already got on the PS4.
Exactly.
There are,
Yeah.
there are a few exclusive on the PS5. Are they as good to warrant me forking out what I want, as opposed to just carrying on retro gaming and indie gaming? No,
Mm.
nowhere near.
Nah. A really quick shout out to Celso Claudio on the chats, who says Merry Christmas mga guapo, which is translated to Merry Christmas to all you handsome folk right there. Thank you very much, Celso Claudio. And yeah, in my case, I would say I would venture so far as to say this might herald the death of the beginning of the death of the physical games console, because of the fact that Microsoft Game Pass is an excellent value for dollar. Every single almost week, you're getting a brand new game on it. Amazon has been into the gaming streaming arena, has thrown their hat into the gaming streaming arena with what's called Amazon Luna, and it is flawless. Honestly, as an Amazon Prime member, I've been playing games on it for free. It's amazing.
Really, Amazon Prime?
Yeah, Amazon Prime. If you're on Amazon Prime,
Prime.
yeah, you can check out this game, their service called Amazon Luna, and you can play.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Exactly. You can play their games on your browser. I've been playing Tetris Effect Connected. I've been playing Zero no Kiseki, the RPG that just came out, the Trails in this Trail series. It's flawless. It's really like the game streaming thing. It might the lack of chips for modern consoles like PlayStation 5 and Xbox 360 might signal the death of the big chunky consoles going forward. The biggest selling console right now is the Nintendo Switch. Sales figures have recently surpassed the PlayStation 4, if I remember correctly. Of the Nintendo Switch has surpassed the lifetime sales of the PlayStation 4, and I wouldn't be surprised if it surpassed sometime in the near future the lifetime sales of the best-selling console of all time, the PS2. I wouldn't be surprised at all, really. The hybrid handheld console might be the next thing, like might be the next big thing aside from streaming, game streaming. So that's my personal opinion. I could be wrong on that, but I'm putting my money on game streaming in the future. All right,
And speaking of
yeah, go ahead, John.
speaking of the speaking of actual physical copy dying down.
Yeah, okay.
So we got this Xbox
Nice. There you go. The Series S. Nice. Very
only
good.
because Sir Joel said, "Well, if you're just gonna play, this is the best. If you're just gonna go for for a hardware emulator, this is one of the best ones, computer power wise.
Yes.
I think there's a hack now that you can run RetroArch with the Xbox Series S and X without doing the developmental kit hack.
I believe so.
So you
Yes.
can. I just saw ETA Prime.
Oh yeah,
ETA
ETA Prime.
released the
Shout
video
out to
on
ETA
how
Prime.
to
Very cool.
on how to hack your Series S, Series X to run RetroArch on it. I haven't done it yet. I've been meaning to do that just to see how it run GameCube, Dreamcast, Saturn games.
I seem to recall ETA Prime did a video on it, and I think he said that they ran pretty well up to GameCube. If I could be remembering that
Okay.
incorrectly, but yes, all the way up to GameCube, which is fascinating. Again, emulating all these amazing consoles from the past is really something that I hear the Series S does very well. They're selling that right now in Costco here in the US for $200. I'm severely tempted to get one myself, honestly, Joe. I think I influenced you to get one, and now I'm influencing myself to get one as well, despite the fact that I don't.
as far as JRPG goes, I
yeah.
can always do that on the PS4 and the Switch.
That's true.
I mean, the Xbox the Xbox unfortunately doesn't really have such exclusives as far as JRPG goes. Or that
Yes.
I mean, compared to the 360,
Agreed.
360 Xbox has like at least 5 JRPGs exclusives that at least you'll be not as reluctant to get one.
Oh, Miss Eileen Tadeo, who might be having a little bit of trouble connecting right now. Otherwise, she would have joined us in the chats here in the panel, saying in the chats, yes, same with Sir Juan de Marcos, JDM. Hoping to see Sir Dan stream in the future. There you go, Dan. You've got it. You've got people waiting to see you stream your games. There you go.
Or then we'll be streaming.
Yes, everybody's clamoring for it right now. All right, so I think that's a nice little rundown of the gaming news of 2022. Let's move on to a little portion right now. It's reminiscent of what we've always done in the past called Show and Tell, except this time we're going to be doing an overall 2022 thing where if you have a particular game that you have acquired that is best value for money, or your biggest regret, show it off and then let's talk about it. Let's see, Joe, let's find out what your acquisitions for 2022 are, and if it's something that you're particularly proud of, or if you think that it's a stinker.
Well, I did mention the Sega Mega Drive.
Yes, nice. Very cool.
Well, the box says Genesis, but the console is Mega Drive.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I got the SNES Mini right there. I can get it now, but I got the SNES Mini, the NES Mini, the PlayStation 1 Classic, which I played PS1, the PS1, the default PS1.
Yeah.
What bullshit is this?
Well, I mean, it will become an amazing console once you've decided to modify it.
I got all 3 minis for cheap, like $100. Australian dollars. So I'm not that bitter about it. But come on, aside from Wild Arms, Final Fantasy VII, I think the only noteworthy game would be First Persona.
First Persona.
But the actual physical copy of Persona 1, like it would cost you like over 200-300 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
US dollars a pop. I mean, if you can even find one. And I'm not sure why it's there, but thankfully it's there. Otherwise, I don't know what's the point of all of the games listed there. I mean, we talked about the PS1 Classic more in detail on our mini episode, but I mean, actually seeing it scroll right in front of me, like that's it. Well, what else? I got what else? So the DS, the DS Lite. What else did I got? This one right here.
The original Xbox. Nice one. Yeah, very nice. And it's funny that it looks like it's got a hole in it because of the green screen thing. The Xbox has a big green X in the middle of it, if I remember correctly, right?
The OG Xbox. I didn't bought that actually. It came from my brother-in-law when I was back in the Philippines a while back.
It's still an acquisition.
What else? I got the PC Engine.
Oh, there you go. That's it. We definitely have to do an episode on that.
It's the OG PC Engine that unfortunately I don't. Unfortunately, it needs the RF cable.
I'm sure it's gonna be easy to get that.
So I have to. They said that if you're going to use the RF cable, then better use a CRT. TV. If you're going to hook this up on an HD TV, on a modern TV, it's just gonna look like hell. So I bought this from Amazon. This RGB connector that will connect this on the back. So you can just use a component cable, so at least you can play your PC Engine games in RGB, YBBPR component in a video setting. For the I didn't really buy anything like a physical game for the PC Engine, but I did got the EverDrive.
Yes.
For it. I got Baroque. I got Baroque.
Oh, Baroque, yes, for Wii. Yes, that's true. I've always seen that around in the markets. I just never got the chance to get it. Is it part of that Tower RPG series? No.
It's an JRPG that's also released on the PlayStation 2, I believe.
Okay.
Baroque. And I got Kudelka for the PlayStation 1.
Nice.
Kudelka. NTSCJ. But if you're going to if you're going to play this, everything's in English. The only Japanese thing will be just what the subtitles. But because they're doing everything, because they're doing their FMVs in English, they didn't dub in Japanese. All of the dialogue will be still in English, so it doesn't really matter. And then, hey, speaking of Persona 2 Eternal Punishment.
Oh, nice. Very good. Very cool.
I'm not familiar with that one, Joe. Is that's not Persona 2 that was on the SNES then?
Well, the first Persona 1 and 2 only came originally for the PS1.
Yeah.
And then Persona 2 has two installments. The second one will be Eternal Punishment. The first installment of Persona 2 Part 1 was the one that got localized for the PS1, localized and then ported for the PSP. Part 2 is just it's a Japanese Japanese only game because they run out of money.
I'm getting confused. I'm thinking SMT. It's SMT on SNES, isn't it?
Yeah.
The SM. I mean, that's the thing with the Persona, because technically speaking, it's Shin Megami Tensei Persona 2.
Yeah. That's where I got confused with it, mate. So yeah, that makes sense.
So, and then I also got in a big bag. I also got Final Fantasy 3 Adventure.
Mm,
Final Fantasy Adventure 3 for the Game Boy.
nice, very good.
And I got all of this stuff in the 1989 arcade when they did their 2022 retro video game market. It was just this last week, actually. So, well, I couldn't go to the RGCP event. So this technically that was my event. That was my retro video game market event for me. There were I'm still trying to work the video footage that I got. There are a lot of things that there were a lot of things that I'm still on the editing board for that. Hopefully, I'll be able to finish the whole event soon. But in a nutshell, that's all. These are all that I got from the market. Not that that's all. That's all I got. That's all I can afford.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's
That's all I can afford.
we all go into retro conventions with a budget in mind. Like in my case, I go into it with I think $200 in my pocket in general, and I make sure that I stick to that budget unless something extra like a unicorn shows up in one of the conventions, and I have to go whip out my credit card and get the damn thing. All right, so that is that's Joe. Oh yeah, the book.
The books, of course.
Fight Magic Items.
Fight Magic and Items.
I have to get a copy of that
The
one.
history of Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, and the rise of Japanese RPGs in the West.
I have to get that one. I definitely have to get that one.
And the big book, the
Yeah.
Bible, the Holy Bible of JRPG players.
Mhm.
Uh,
That
big
one
book.
Joe influenced me to get one. I have a copy sitting around in my shelf right now.
A guide to Japanese role-playing games.
Mm.
This one. If you like pictures, guys, get this one.
Yeah.
If you
Right.
just like reading text, get this one.
Well, that just goes to show. The one with the pictures is superior because it shows you what you might want to get into in JRPGs. Sad to say, a lot of them are likely not translated yet, Joe. Are they?
Yep. That's all I can get within arm's reach. for now.
Well,
I'll
we'll
show more
stick with,
later.
yeah, we'll stick with that for now. How about Dan? Are there any particular game acquisitions? I know you've been doing a lot of emulation lately,
Yeah.
but have you been going out and acquiring games?
Yeah, I mean, I've still been getting quite a few.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, obviously, it's more modern based than retro, but we'll start with the obvious one for emulation, which was, of course, the Mega Drive.
Nice. Yes, the Mega Drive Mini too.
I obviously got the PC Engine Mini 2, but
Very
I'll be honest
cool.
with you, that's not really grabbed me much yet.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right,
Hmm.
but it's not. The Mega Drive Mini 2.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what's been a bit of a godsend with this is that it's been really good to take around to friends' house.
Nice. Okay.
Because it's so portable. Do you know what I mean? So it's, like, it's been great for just taking around. All they've needed is a HDMI cable and a or an FR cable and a power supply and 5-volt power supply, and boom. Do you know what I mean? So it's been. I didn't plan on getting it for that, but that's been something I've used it quite a bit for.
It's just one of those things that happened, and you found out that actually is optimized for that. The Mega Drive 2 is optimized for bringing to a buddy's house and then just hanging around and enjoying.
Yeah, it's been perfect for that because I've got quite a few friends who are not really collectors. I mean, they're into gaming, but they're not not into it like we are, and it's ideal for taking around there. So that's been obviously one of my main acquisitions, really.
Very cool.
The other, to be fair, well, there's a few really. This to me has been one of the biggest surprise games I've played in years.
Oh well, let's hear it.
And it's Sakura Wars.
Sakura Wars. Hey, oh yeah, nice
Yeah.
one.
I only got this for like £10, really cheap.
Oh,
£10.
that's a really good deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I just one of them games, it doesn't get any hype at all. I don't really, I've not heard or seen much about it. But I saw it at £10 and I thought, well, let's give it a try.
Yeah.
And
Sega.
It's been one of the best games I've played, the best modern JRPGs I've played in a long time. I can't, I find it incredibly uplifting, incredibly funny and sweet.
Yes.
Now it is a little bit dodgy because you can date quite young girls in it. So that's, I'm like, I don't mind dating the girls, and there's a few girls in there that are around 19, 20 years old. So that's, and the main character's 20, so he's got the girls' age. But there's a few who are quite a bit younger, and so I'm like, I'm not keen on that. But you can ignore all that anyway.
Yes.
You can always go younger.
Is he after it, Joe? Is it?
Yeah, for Joe, it's he can go younger.
Funny stories for Joel, actually.
I'm not one to judge. It's Japanese culture and Asian culture. It's a different ball game, but
until most recently, I think the age of consent in the Philippines is 12. They raised it to it was 12. They raised it to 18, I think 4 years ago. But and before then, because of the fact that I think it might have been an offshoot of World War II, because of the fact that the Philippines was decimated.
I think in Japan, the age of consent is 13.
Yes, because of the World War II decimation of the Philippine population, the government really wanted people to get the population back up to speed. Yes, precisely, exactly. So, I mean, some people might disagree with it because of modern sensibilities, but you have to factor in historical context.
I totally agree, mate, and that's why I've not got a problem with it, because you've always got to respect other cultures and their laws. And this is a Japanese game.
Yes, precisely.
In Japan, the age consent's 13.
Yes,
I'm not one to judge what the Japanese do. You know what I mean? Yes. And they've obviously clearly thought about that, because they put other girls in around 20, 19-year-old. And like I say, the main character's 20, so I wouldn't expect, I wouldn't expect a 20-year-old guy in it to be dating a 30 or a 40-year-old girl. You know what I mean? So it all works. But what I love about it is, regardless, it's a really innocent and sweet game. It's not one that it's not like where you see him having sex scenes or anything like that. Just like hold hands and steal a kiss and that. And it's just really, really sweet. It's like, that takes you back to your childhood type.
Yes.
So for £10, that's been one of my highlights of the year, easily.
It's money well spent. And if you're at all, I've seen a couple of episodes of the anime. If you are interested in the storyline of it, I seem to remember that the anime was a pretty good one too. Joe might be more familiar with it than me, but Sakura Wars, the anime, if I remember correctly, a couple of episodes that I saw were really good. And storyline wise, it looks like the game actually follows the anime pretty closely. So again, nice choice on that one. And you were absolutely correct. One of the main reasons why we play games is that we want to move away from reality a little bit, and then enjoy alternate realities where we can see how other people think and do what other people do. And that's not a bad thing. It's a little escapism. Whoever said escapism was a bad thing. One of the earliest inclinations of humans is to play, and that's what we do. That's what we maintain with ourselves. We still play, we still enjoy, because the moment that you stop playing is the moment that you start aging, and nobody wants to do that.
About Sir Joel, about Sakura Wars, funny story. Here in Australia, on day one release, the retail price of Sakura Wars for the PlayStation 4 was almost 90 Australian dollars.
Dang. Okay.
And I'm like, okay, I'll wait. I'll wait for it to go on sale.
Mm-hmm.
6 months passed, it was still that high. And then
Oh,
for some reason,
mm.
you can't find it anywhere anymore.
Yes, that
Not even
usually happens.
not in our retail stores.
Mm-hmm.
You can only find it online. So I
Yes.
got mine in
Mhm.
eBay, coming
Mm.
from the United Kingdom as well.
Oh, there you go.
I got it for I think $40,
Yeah.
40 pounds
Mm.
at the time.
It-
So what, 10 pounds for
no, Dan really
for
lucked
that?
out on that price.
Yeah.
Dan really lucked out on that because honestly, for the niche games, for the niche
It is an insane.
JRPGs in particular, yeah, they do become rare. Physical copies are almost impossible to find after a certain amount of time. After, let's say, maybe about 3 to 6 months, you're not gonna find a physical copy of a particular JRPG that you've had your eye on, and that's why I've been inclined recently. Well, for a little while already, that if I see something JRPG wise that I'm already interested in, I already snap it up, even if it's just a small down tick in price from
Yeah.
$60 maybe to 40. My usual magical price point is $20. But once it hits 40, I'm getting it already, especially if it's a game that I feel is going to be extremely hard to find in the future. That's my regular practice now. In the immortal words of Guybrush Threepwood of Monkey Island, never pay more than $20 yeah, for a video game. But exceptions to that rule is JRPGs that might become extremely rare or hard to find. That's my sole exception. Otherwise, $20. Like Guybrush Threepwood says, and Dad is very much familiar with that one.
Very much so. Very much so.
Mhm. All right, good choices, guys. In my case, I have to admit, a couple of the treasured things that came my way actually came from Joe, all the way from Australia, because I'm sorry, from the Philippines via Australia Post, because Joe went to the conventions in the Philippines, and he sent me the amazing Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3 for SNES. I absolutely love the Koi series. I love the Romance of the Three Kingdoms series, the saga. I love Bandit Kings of Ancient China. I love Uncharted Waters. And of course, Dan would be very familiar with this ActRaiser.
Oh, what a game!
ActRaiser,
Fantastic game.
amazing game.
Yeah.
It's basically I guess a real-time God game. I guess you can call it that.
Action platformer God Sim.
Yes, action platformer God Sim. It's
I tried
really
playing that for the first 5 minutes. I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do here? I'm on a flying saucer, and I keep going on the map, and I'm like, am I supposed to land somewhere?
yes. It's give it a go, Joe. I mean, watch a little bit of a YouTube playthrough of it. In the first, I'd say, 15 minutes. You're
Because
gonna it's
because I
gonna
was
catch you.
testing your cartridge for the first time.
Yeah.
I want to make sure it's working. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do here?
Mate, Joe, I'd say that game's a contender. I think Link to the Past is better, but I'd say ActRaiser is a contender for best Super Nintendo game ever.
Yes. It's so good, Joe, that they actually
And it has a
remastered
sequel,
it.
right? ActRaiser 2? It has a
Yes, there is
ActRaiser
ActRaiser 2.
piece of shit.
I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know what to do. I'm not even sure what to do on the first one. So what
Well,
am I supposed to do with the second one?
It's so good that they actually made a remake of it on iOS and Android, and I think on other platforms too, like PlayStation 4. I could be wrong on that one.
No, they've released it on quite a few, but I recently played that and I didn't like it. They've
Yeah.
had a lot of padding to it,
Yeah.
and it's nowhere near as good as the original for me.
It felt a little clunkier, which is weird. I mean, you'd think that a remake of an SNES game in modern times would function better. It just felt clunkier, I guess. That's the right term for it for me. So those are two things that Joe sent me. Another couple of things that Joe sent me was Namco Museum for Game Boy Advance, which I always carry in the Game Boy Micro that Joe sent along with it, and Arcade Advance for GBA. So these have amazing retro games in them. Not extremely accurate arcade representations of the games like Gyrus and Yar Kung Fu or Galaga, but they are optimized for Game Boy. And if you guys are looking for good retro games that you can carry in your pocket, you can't go wrong with the games that Joe sent over.
Just to pass the time without requiring too much concentration, not much
Mm-mm.
brain power.
Absolutely, those are highlights to my acquisitions for this year. None of them. Joe sent over banger games. None of them are throwaway games. They are amazing games, and I have to thank Joe for that one. I'd also like to point out a little bit of something on in the chats. Sir Pao of Paulo Christopher Fernandez of Sir Pao Gaming and Sir Pao 24 on Twitch.tv says, great acquisitions. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. She plays Scarlet, I play Violet. And that's actually a nice mechanic to that, Sir Pao, because of the fact that I think Pokemon has a normal mechanic of trading Pokemon among certain generations.
All
Although
the glitches included.
all the glitches included, and it's just big Pokemon news. Oh, Baruna Royka says my 2022 is Pokemon, LOL, but I bought Kirby. Woo! I have to get that Kirby, the latest Kirby game. I forgot what it was titled, where he's wandering around a post-apocalyptic world where everything is already covered in grass and everything. I completely forgot what the title of it was, but I'm definitely gonna have to get that there.
It's
Baruna
Kirby
Royka,
Apocalypse Now.
Kirby Apocalypse Now, or the Omega Man, Kirby the Omega Man, if you remember the Charlton Heston movie. But yeah, 123 Go Retro JDM says my greatest 2022 acquisition, a physical copy of OG Gothic 1, 2, and 3. Good choices, JDM. Gothic is an amazing RPG.
Mate.
Gothic series, amazing RPG series. It's very different from the norm of RPG of slaying dragons and stuff like that. The setting is very different. The mechanics are a little bit unusual, but the storyline very good, very good. And I'd like to call attention to another little bit of gaming news. Not so much gaming as it is anime news. If we can deviate from the path a little bit, it has been announced recently that Ash's adventures on Pokemon the anime series have come to an end, and he will be departing as the main character in the anime. So all of you,
So I watched the first Pokemon episode when I was 10,
there you go.
and I got a daughter now, and you're telling me after 25 years they still look the same.
Yes.
Pokemon's ending.
Well, not ending. Ash's adventures are ending, which is
Their adventure is ending. I'm like, should have ended long ago.
I know. Honestly, the thing about Ash is that a lot of people grew up with him. A lot of gamers, a lot of anime watchers grew up with Ash Ketchum, despite the fact that Ash Ketchum never actually grew up at all, physically, and some would say mentally either. But yeah, it's going to be the end of an era. So
My ideal scenario would be
Mm.
Ash getting hooked up with Misty.
Same.
Any other
Same.
scenario is unacceptable.
I forgot though. They're pairing him up with, I forgot the name of the girl with the hat and brown hair.
It doesn't matter if she's not paired with Misty. It doesn't matter.
I think it's because of the fact that they're pairing him up with that girl because of the fact that they're childhood friends. I think I read somewhere. I never really got into that part of the Pokemon lore anymore. But yeah, that it's gonna be the end of an era because for 25 years, people have watched the adventures of Ash Ketchum and Pikachu, and well, I don't even know how they're gonna send him off because if
Kill him, hopefully.
Dad's opinion is that he should be killed.
Not that kid.
Honestly, me personally, as a story writer, as somebody who writes stories, I would have ended it with maybe a flash forward into the future where Ash is all grown up. That's it. Arunda Royka says it's Serena. There you
Serena?
go. Serena is the name of the girl that they're pairing him up with. I would have gone with a flash forward into the future to see Ash all grown up, paired up with everybody wants Misty, and his sending his kid off into his first Pokemon adventure. Make it nice and
Yeah.
a nice cyclical ending where
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
yeah.
I'd Pikachu eat him.
Well, there you go. Well, we could do that too. But the fact is, they could still do it in the future. But
Yeah.
that's my personal thing. As a story writer, it would have worked with a cyclical ending where you would
What?
see Ash sending
They're
off his
going to
kid.
reveal Giovanni as the father.
Well, yeah, that's another that's another fan fiction thing. I think Giovanni of Team Rocket, the head of Team Rocket, if I
Then
remember
what?
correctly.
Jesse and James managed to kill Ash, but not purposely, only by accident.
Well, the thing about they're definitely gonna have to get rid of Jesse and James because they're the main antagonists of Ash Ketchum. So I guess they're gonna have to think of new antagonists going forward. So, let's have a quick look at the chats. Baron Naroika Gami Tagla says they should have ended it with the Kalos saga. I'm not sure I've reached that far yet. It's their 20th anniversary. They really have very good 20th anniversary merchandise at that time. 3DS and 2DS handheld anniversary items. That would have been very cool if they had ended it at that stage. Baron Noroy Kagami Tagle. It's I would say it would have been cool. Rica Marcelo says time for my boy Gold to shine. Oh yeah, I think I remember in the games the main characters are named after their cartridge colors, right? I could be wrong on that. The original one was red.
Ooh.
And
Talk about if we're being writers about this. One of the cop outs that we can probably see. How about so let's go with the Lost approach. Everything's a dream.
Yeah.
The first time Pikachu zapped his ass. The very first episode. The very first episode that he sent a thunderbolt shock to Ash. He went unconscious. Then everything else up to that point, up to now, all is just in his head. He was just dreaming. He's on a coma, and then he just suddenly woke up. Then,
Disadvantage of that one, Joe, is that that presupposes that he never met Misty.
yeah, like that was so he never met Misty or Brock yet, because that was the time when he got his first Pikachu from Professor Oak. That this was the time when Pikachu was hasn't trusted Ash yet as
And he was chunky back then. The original Pikachu design was this round thing.
I see
Knocked his ass, then went for a coma. Then everything up to now will be just in his head.
You were about to say that. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I see Viraj has joined us in the chat. So
Viraj, there you go.
Hey.
And I think he said, "Hey, good riddance. Ash has been around too long." So I think we have to kill him. I think
I agree. Honestly, as Viraj Kathwadia would say, good riddance. Ash has been around for too long. It defies logic that he's had adventures for 25 years and he hasn't grown up. I mean, it defies all logic. At the very least, anime has implemented growing up characters well in the past, and I guess they just decided, we're just gonna keep Ash perpetually 10 years old, despite
every character there needs exposure.
I all that type of anime. I mean, I could never get into Pokemon. Came when I was too old for it. My first exposure to anime was Vampire Hunter D.
Nice one.
Fist of the North Star.
Oh, very cool.
And Urotsuka Doji. So exactly, they were my first three because we didn't know in England. We didn't know. We just saw. You didn't know anything about them. You just saw them in magazines. And you thought, right, okay, this is cool. Yeah, it was like a trend. It was a cool thing. And we just grabbed these videos. So Pokemon were pretty tame after to be honest.
Well, I mean, after Urotsuka Doji, anything is a tame thing after that.
Anything's tame, mate.
Oh my goodness! I what can I say? Fist of the North Star, amazing. If you get the chance to watch it from beginning to end, bar none, it blows JoJo's Bizarre Adventure out of the water. If you ask me, that's my personal opinion.
Ooh, fighting words.
I know those are fighting words, but
So Hokuto no Ken.
Hokuto no Ken.
Oh, you heard it here first, guys. Fist of the North Star is better than JoJo's Bizarre
Oh yeah,
Adventure.
absolutely. I will
Ultra
die
all
on that
arts.
hill. I will die on that hill. Hokuto no Ken is better than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. You can quote me on that.
It's not lad.
There you
You
go.
heard
That,
here. You heard it here. Oh,
I know Joe Money Joe Star is not going to be very happy with my saying that, but it's true. It's true. I mean, at the very least, it has consistency. At the very least, Hokuto no Ken has consistency when it comes to its
okay, fine.
lore.
Sir
Mhm.
Joel, so, in behalf of Sir
Mm-mm.
Joe Marie Joe Star, who
Yeah.
not be, who might be listening in,
Uh-huh.
Sir Joe Marie, me, Sir Joel, and Sir Dan, we will do our obligatory JoJo pose. Okay.
Okay,
So
fine.
let's
JoJo
Look,
cool.
okay, yeah.
our JoJo pose.
For those of you in the audience, we just made fools of ourselves. In the listening audience, we just made fools of ourselves. But it's all for you. It's all for the audience. You guys can see us. We have our fun because heck, you know, life is too short to be too serious. What's the quote? Life is too serious to be taken too seriously.
Exactly.
That's it. That is my personal opinion on it. And heck, that's how we are. That's how we are here in Timeless Gamer. That's how we are in Pinoy Retro Gaming. We just enjoy ourselves. Viraj Kathwadia says, I watched Pokemon a lot as a kid because my brother was into it and it was a big deal. But with me and Pokemon, if we were talking the games, I gave up after Gold. Some people actually reach a certain point and then they let go. Understandable. You see, to me, Pokemon was a game a parent would get their kid on the Game Boy, as it would have so much replay value, and they would not need to buy other games for that kid. Very true. In essence, it was a budget game. Don't get me wrong; as a series, it has evolved, but I find the notion of catching Pokemon to not be stimulating as a fetch quest. Very true.
Exactly.
Very true. It
Brilliant summary.
It is a gigantic fetch quest, and
Just got so convoluted.
agreed. Yeah, I mean, I think I
After
let
Generation
go. I think I let go during the DS era. I could be wrong on that one because I did play some up to Emerald on GBA, and then DS came, and there was just so many, and I just said, they're making weird ass Pokemons now that actually look like keys on a key ring. So I'm not even touching that anymore.
I could never get into the series. Like I say, I was a teen. I was like a mid-teen when it came out, so it was quite childish and a bit. I'm like, I don't really want to go near that. But it always felt like a con job to me. You know what? You know, the Tamagotchi.
Okay.
It always felt like I'm not playing a computer game. I'm just doing busy work. So,
Pretty much, yeah.
There's a lot of grinding.
Yes.
On Pokemon games, actually, Sir Dan. I mean, when I got hooked on Pokemon with Pokemon Blue, and it did got addicting to a point that because with your starter Pokemons, you really wanted to get stronger so you can breeze to your first gym battle, right? And you keep on grinding and grinding up to the point that okay, you're just too OP now, and then you're going for your first boss gym battle, and it just never stops on grinding. I mean, catch new Pokemon, then grind, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, exactly, mate, exactly.
It's just it's just something. It's just something that kids like Viraj did say. It's a game that parents get for their kids to keep them occupied, and it works for that purpose. But I guess for people like us who have amassed a variety of experiences, like in my case, I go for tactical strategy. Not tactical strategy. I go for grand strategy games, 4X games, Civilization, and things like that. A Pokemon game isn't gonna do it for me. Same with Dan. His style of game is very different. His style is the Chakan the Forever Man style. Yeah, Chakan the Forever Man style.
Darker and grittier and more violent.
Yeah, the Pokemon's not gonna cut it with all the grinding and the fetching and everything. And for Joe, it might do it for him for a little while, maybe, especially with a kid growing up right now who's into the collecting aspect. I wouldn't be surprised if he really got into it sometime in the future because of the fact that it's a good way to teach kids to memorize things. I grew up memorizing Star Wars names of all the toys that I wanted to buy. Maybe that would be the way that Joe would teach his kid memorization skills. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, that might be something that he might do. Uh-oh. Joe is showing. Oh, it's a yeah
Well, the green screen.
yeah, the
I
green
got
screen.
gold and yellow.
Yellow.
Golden yellow.
Nice one. Golden yellow.
Golden
Nice.
yellow.
I mean, yellow. I I think yellow was a pretty good one for its time, especially with the fact that you have Pikachu following you around and then checking his mood. You know, he would just look at you disapprovingly. And all right, so those are the games that we've acquired. We have no. It seems that we don't really have any regret games for
That's
2020.
right. I can tell you one of mine.
Oh, really? Well, let's hear that, Ben.
I didn't keep it, obviously, but it's quite recently relevant, and that's God of War 2018.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You did mention. There you go.
I could not believe that the user over the shoulder shooting game-based perspective for a melee-based game, and I'm like, I'm used to playing Streets of Rage, which is shit top dollar melee combat. And then I go and play God of War 2018, and people are like, "It's the best." I'm like, "It's not even Double Dragon level." So what are they on about? So yes, that was. I wouldn't say a terrible game. It obviously it looked brilliant, and it had it got some decent puzzle work and had a decent story. But it's an average game at best. So that would my biggest disappointment of playing in 2026.
Biggest disappointment. I think it's because of the fact that people really got attached to Kratos. The storyline, I would say, the fact that the storyline was carried over very well into God of War 2018, and you find out what happened to him after he basically eliminated the Greek Parthenon, the Greek pantheon of gods. So you find out what happened to him. That storyline really captured people, and they wanted to find out. So what's Kratos been doing now? Is he living peacefully? Is he still kicking ass? And then they find out that Kratos. Spoilers for those of you who haven't played the game yet. He's got a son, and he's trying to be the best dad that he can. Like we all do, yeah.
I'm a big fan of the original God of War game. I love the God of War game. And that just didn't connect with me. I don't want Kratos to be a dad. I want him to be a murdering bastard.
And I think they're steering him that direction nowadays. Anyway, that's except that in his case, his motivation for his original series was rage. Now his motivation is more protecting that which he values. It's not. It's a maturity. It's an ongoing maturing process. Some people really like that.
I've not got there. I still want to. I'm like my little dog. I either want to kill it or shag it.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. How about Joy? It looks like he's got a little something to show us, or he's got a thought on his regret game, if he's got one, or his regret purchase. Does he have one? No.
Actually, I haven't really played all of them to have an opinion of if I have any regrets on it. But speaking of which, speaking of gaming news, I got Miss Eileen's Miss Eileen's entry actually. So she submitted her recording because she can't be here with us guys on our live show, but she submitted her own thoughts and impressions in regarding with her gaming experiences of 2022. So
let's hear it.
Let's hear Miss Eileen Tadeo Enslin Porter on what her gaming experiences is like for the year 2022.
Nice.
Hi everyone, this is Aslan Porter. Thanks for tuning into Pinoy Retro Gaming's Timeless Gamer podcast about gaming experiences of 2022. I cannot make it live to the podcast, so I've made this advanced recording. I hope you enjoyed the episode and hear my 2 cents about the gaming news, and then I'll share my gaming experiences afterwards. First is the GTA 6 leaks. Most of you know that my favorite game is Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and I like the GTA franchise. So when I saw those leaks, I was quite excited because it's so nice to see the modern Vice City. The graphics are excellent and the details are so visible, as in even the creases on the clothes. Yeah, it's very detailed. And it's also cool to have a badass female protagonist for the first time. Well, not counting the GTA Online, but the main games, I mean. And then the Nintendo eShop shut down for the 3DS and the Wii. It's just so sad because I cannot catch up with all the games that I want to buy with limited time and limited funds. With that, you can actually buy retro games and play them on your own time. I mean, because on the Switch you need a subscription to access those classic games, but on the 3DS and Wii eShop you can buy the games and, well, quote unquote, own them, if you know what I mean. The eShop on 3DS and Wii are good and cool way to discover awesome games, both big and indie, whether old or new. It's really just a shame we can't access those games on 3DS and V anymore. Well, at least there's the Switch, but again, like I said, some of them you cannot buy without, or you cannot play without a subscription. Also, such a bummer because you can't use an eShop card or credit card on it anymore, even if it shuts down in March, late March. At least if your 3DS or Wii accounts are linked with a Nintendo account. I don't have a Switch, but you can actually connect or link those and you can still buy through that. And then on the G4 TV shutdown, I admit I am quite outdated that I didn't even know they were back. So it's surprising for me to realize and learn that they're shutting down. It's too bad and sad that we're gonna lose G4 TV again. I grew up with G4 Tech TV and X-Play, so it's such a downer that it's gonna go down again. Hopefully in the future they come back. Okay, back to the main topic. The games we've acquired, best value for money for me would be the Game Pass intro to the Philippine market promo of just 49 pesos for 3 months. That's $1. Well, the old rates, but it's around that price. So that's a steal because I know in other countries it's not just $1, it's more than that. So we had 3 months of access just for $1. Well, it's gone back to, well, not gone back, but increased to, I'm not sure how much, but those 3 months were so much fun and really best value for money. And then other few values for money for me would be this 3DS Mario game I bought from, well, if you're from the Philippines, you'd know the Game Boy Lapagan every month. So I remember trying to keep myself from buying this Mario game from other events because it's expensive, like 400, 500. But in the September 2022 Lapagan, I was able to buy one with a box and with a free stylus too, 3DS stylus. I hope you can see the picture there. But yes, I got that for 300. Other sellers sell that for 500 and it's just the cartridge. Well, it doesn't have the manual, but at least I've got a box and a stylus, so it's really a steal. And I also have other best value for money games, but I'll insert them later category of topic. And then biggest regret would be there's a few actually. Well, one is I was able to buy this Game Boy Advance in the RGCP event last August. I mean that GBA is functional and It came with a box for 2,000 pesos, Philippine pesos. It's really cool, but then I did not go around the event enough that I missed Sergey R. Apilan's booth. He has, I think, backlit GBAs that I could have bought instead of the one I got because it's so dim. I did not, what you call this? I only realized later that, yeah, GBAs are not backlit. I mean, I forgot because I grew up with the DMG Game Boy and never got a GBA. So that was, yeah, too bad I got. Well, at least it's an original, untouched, unmodified version. But it would have been nicer to play with a backlit screen, you know. And then earlier this year on Steam, I mean, really early this year, January, I missed buying Dragon Age 2 with all the DLCs just for 152 pesos. The price doesn't go down that low anymore these days. Ever since that sale, it never got down to that price. I hope this new year they make it as low as that or just even close to it, because now it's over 200 on sale. I mean, it, even if there's a sale, it doesn't go low than that or as low as that. And then also there's this what this a Mario 64, sorry for the noise, Mario 64 DS cartridge that I bought on one event. This was the only store or seller that was selling it, so I really wanted to try that game and bought it despite the condition of the cartridge. It's not too worn, but you can see some age on it. So I think it damaged my 3DS a bit. You know, the rusting on the pins, maybe. So ever since I bought that used cartridge, it's like old school. I have to blow air into the slot of my 3DS or clean the pins of the cartridge. And then games we've played the most time I've put in based on my streams, actually, because I mostly play online now or play live. And the games I streamed the most this year would be GTA Vice City, Dungeon Keeper 2, and Theme Hospital. So you can see a trend there. I like business simulation games, or not exactly business, but simulation games. Then also, there's this game I bought recently, Train Valley, because it was on sale for $129. So that's a huge value for money because I've put in already 16 hours in it and I just bought it recently. And then the games that surprised me most this year, well, I'm talking about old games that did not even come out in 2022, but I'm talking about what I experienced this year. The games that surprised me would be Steam World Dig and Train Valley. I remember thinking about Steam World Dig because it was on sale on the eShop, and I looked at YouTube reviews. One review said, all you do is dig and dig and dig. Well, yeah, it's what you do, but there's a lot of fun in that game because you get upgrades, and yeah, you have to try to get the feel and the fun of the game. And then Train Valley. This looks like a simple puzzle game, and I'm not really much into puzzle games, so I was hesitant to buy this one. But then it went on sale for $129, and I was surprised about how much fun this puzzle game is and how many hours I've put in. So yeah, that's what surprised me most this year. And then game events I've participated in. I was able to attend the RGCP Retro Gamers Collectors Philippines North Mall Caloocan event last August 21, and it was the first retro gaming convention I was able to attend. It was so much fun. It's lots of people, retro gamers, fellow streamers, and lots of games. It's like it was so nice to see all the games I grew up with in cartridge form and all the retro consoles too. Oh, by the way, this here is the only picture I have of the event. This picture was taken by Mr. Brian Tayo. Credits to him. So he was taking events. Oh no, not taking events. Taking pictures of the events, and he happened to catch me on one of his pictures. So thank you, Mr. Brian Tayo, for this picture. In this photo, you can see me putting on a T-shirt. I was just given my Pinoy Retro Gaming T-shirt, and I was putting it on for the first time. So, as fun as this picture looks, this is pretty. Sorry for the noise. This is pretty important to me because I have just been made a member, and this is like ceremonial as it looks, even if it looks weird to be caught on picture. And then the next event I was able to attend was the Retro Game Boy Lapagan at Kamaning on September 4, 2022. So I was able to buy more games there because I waited for my next paycheck for more so I can afford more games that I was able to buy from the previous RGCP convention. I got even more games here, so that was awesome. If I could buy more, I would. If you can see on the picture, that's all I could afford. But there's lots of things I wanted to buy. And then the next one is the RetroCon PH event at Fisher Mall on November 26th. I just came from work and I'm glad I had the time to go there and meet fellow PRG members and other streamers and friends too. And it's nice to see classic retro games, toys, and other stuff. So all the events were so much fun. It was nice meeting fellow streamers, both PRG and non-PRG. And it's so cool seeing the retro games sold there because along with other people, we were able to relive our childhood and get access to retro consoles and games. As for game markets I went to, it's all those events. I'm not sure I went to other stores. Well, maybe as usual, Green Hills. And then the retro store at Fisher Mall. So I guess that's all the game markets I went to. I mostly browse online. Either eBay, Amazon. But yes, it's nicer to see them in person in a physical brick and mortar store. Overall, my gaming experience this year has been very awesome. I started streaming April this year and then became part of PRG and have known more people and more friends. And it's so much fun being friends with fellow Filipino retro gamers. I did not know how big retro gaming here is in the Philippines. So, yeah, it was so fun with everything that happened this 2022. I also got to meet new people, not only local but overseas through streaming. So, yes, 2022 was an awesome year in terms of gaming for me. So, thank you everyone. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Okay, there you go. Excellent presentation from Miss Eileen, Miss Eileen Tadeo, who is Miss Ensign Porter here on Facebook and on Twitch.tv and on Twitter as well.
And also Ultraman. Apparently,
Sorry, what?
apparently she's also Ultraman.
Ultraman. Okay. Oh yeah, because of the picture in the background. Okay, there you go. But yeah, Miss Porter actually did give a pretty good rundown of her year, and I the fact that the piece of news that she relayed, the G4 TV returning and shutting down all over again, was quite impactful to a lot of people here in the United States as well, because a lot of people, when I got here in 2007, a lot of people were watching G4 TV. That was a television show about the internet before the internet really became big. I think in Dan's case, in the UK side, it was Games Master, if I remember correctly. Dan,
That's
you
right,
mentioned,
Games
right?
Master. Yeah.
Games Master, but here in the US, it was G4 TV. They tried to bring it back, G4 TV, here on the US for a little while, but it didn't really pan out because people had moved on. People had moved on into different media, and G4 TV really couldn't compete with Twitch, with YouTube anymore. So sad to say, it just went the way of the dodo and is now gone permanently. So
When I was in Manila,
mm,
this was the mid 2000s.
yeah.
G4 was airing at Net 25 in the Philippines, and their main show at the time was called Cheat.
Cheats, yes.
And I always watched that show, just for their previews, their reviews, and whatever cheats of the day that can that they cheats of the day, cheats of the week that they can probably dish out.
Well, Miss Porter actually touched on something that we'll go on very quickly right now. We'll call this a speed round. The speed round of the games that we put in the most time in and surprised us the most in 2022. Let's start with Dan. Speed round, very, very quickly. What games did you put in the most time in and or surprised you the most this year?
Most time, Hellfire.
Hellfire. Okay, this was on my
Sega Mega
platform.
Drive.
Sega Mega Drive, yeah.
Yeah, been practicing to beat it without dying. I finally accomplished that about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, there you go. Congratulations. Very good. Very good. Excellent. And was there any particular game that you came into without too much expectations that really surprised you this year?
Yeah, Eliminate Down.
Eliminate Down. I don't think I'm
Eliminate
familiar
Down
with that
is
one.
It's a Mega Drive shoot 'em up.
Okay.
And I only played it for the first. It was only released in Japan.
Mm.
We couldn't get it over here, and I played it for the first time this year. It's really, quite unknown. It's an amazing game, absolutely mind-blowing, top tier, up there with the best game. And and funnily enough, it's very similar to Hellfire in a lot of ways.
I'm gonna have to put that in my checklist of games to try out. Eliminate Down. I'll have to look around for that one then. Okay. Got it. How about you, Joe? Is there what game? Oh, I know you haven't had much time recently, but is there a particular game that you've been looking to spend a lot of time with?
The most play that I got was playing the 20 Sega Genesis challenge brought by Sir Dan.
There you go.
And
you've got quite the influence here, Dad.
And the most surprising, the 20 game challenge that was brought by Sir Dan.
There you
Most
go.
challenging, the 20 games challenge brought by Sir Dan.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's but then again, that Dan gave a comprehensive list to both Joe and Sir Pao, if I remember correctly, and they managed to go through them with flying colors, and I think Joe was able to relay. No, Joe denies it. Joe denies it, the flying colors part. Okay,
can't even get past the first boss at Shinobi. What the hell?
Oh, there you go.
That will definitely. I've been speaking to Mirage quite a few times about it, and he picked out one of the highlights of the year as watching Sir Pao the first boss.
There you go.
Without a doubt.
Excellent. I mean, thank you very much to Viraj for that input. Excellent gameplay on Sir Pau's part. He did stream it, and it was quite fun. In my case, the game that I spent the most time on this year, surprisingly, didn't even come out this year. If I remember correctly, it came out a couple of years ago. It's a PC game called Endless Space 2. It's basically Civilization in space, and it's one of those 4X explore, eliminate, exterminate, and whatever 4X games set in space, and let's just say that it was able to capture that one more turn feel of Civilization. So there are these games that you say, okay, I'm gonna keep playing. I'm just gonna stop at 11 o'clock nighttime so that I can get a good night's sleep. Next thing you know, you're doing one more turn, It's 3:30 in the morning, and you have to get up at 5 o'clock because you have to go to work. So that is that game. Endless Space 2. If you guys want a good strategy 4X turn-based game, you should check it out. Give it a try. It's my most played game of this year, 2022. All right, that's so much for the speed round. Very quickly.
Speaking
yes,
of Afterburner 2 by
Oh, yeah.
Gerard, Sir Dan just went to this this video game arcade,
Oh, nice.
and we have his footage here.
Oh, let's have a look.
And since we're going to talk about some gaming venues that we've went,
Yes.
we can give it now to Sir Dan.
Absolutely.
To talk
Dan,
about his
the floor is
experience
yours.
on that
Yeah, I mean, this was probably my actual highlight of gaming highlight of the year. Really, it was an arcade festival that was held. I think it was October, and they just had pretty much every core arcade game you could have wished for.
Nice.
It had, as you can see, they also had a few retro consoles as well. As you can see here, you got Final Fight, you got Golden Axe, you've got me looking at that.
Look at Flash right there.
Exactly. Virtua Racing. Obviously, there were a hell of a lot of Sega arcade games. Outrun, because Sega were the masters of the arcades. So Super Hang-On, and it was just a blast. It was a real good time. Afterburner, my favourite arcade game ever, one of my favourite games ever. Absolutely fantastic. Some young kid on a Sega Saturn.
Oh, very nice.
And it was just Space Arrow, your super scalers were there. It was really good. Lots of young kids there. I kicked a lot of young kids' asses and all that.
Didn't show them any mercy, did you?
Yeah, no, did not let up on them at all. I made sure they had to improve and up the game before they come back. So I'm going back there in March, and if they've not upped the game, I will do the same, and I'll take the girlfriends. That's what I promised them. So
Nice.
We've got House of the Dead, Wonder Boy, loads of fantastic arcade games, Sega Rally, all of them worked brilliantly. All of them were really well kept in mint condition, and played really well. All the buttons and everything were fantastic. So
Nice.
I had a great time and a fantastic time.
That's actually very cool. The fact that you were able to visit an arcade like this is something significant. If personally speaking, in my case, I would say the return of the arcade is something that is going to be beneficial to the gaming scene overall.
It's desperate for it. This online community gaming and stay-at-home gaming. It's got its place. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But flipping heck, you can't. Viraj posted earlier. He said he last night he had a gaming night on Streets of Rage 4 with his friends, and he had a great time. And that to me is a big part of gaming. And that is, I loved going there. I walked in there by myself. I came out there probably adding 10, 15 people on Facebook and making new gaming mates, and
Yes.
you don't get that when you just sit at home playing RPGs. Sorry, Joe, but I enjoy an RPG, but you need to get out there and get beat up or beat people up on arcade games.
It's part of the culture. RPG single player games definitely very important to the experience, but there is also something to be said for the community, the communal experience of going to an arcade, meeting new people, trying out new things, finding common ground with all these different people. It's quite the experience. I have an arcade close to my place. It's called Marcades here in Dover, New Jersey. I go there as often as I can, it looks a lot like what you just showed, Dan. A lot of amazing classic arcade games, not lovingly maintained and restored from what they might have been from before. But yeah, I meet people there as well. You make friends. The place is something. The internet does approximate that feeling, but nothing beats
No,
yeah,
it's
meeting people face to face.
I think it's fair. I think that actually modern culture. I understand why arcades went away.
Mhm.
Technology got advanced, and online became a thing, and
Yes.
culture changed. Okay, I get that. But nowadays, a lot of socializing on likes of Twitter and Facebook.
Mm-mm.
Well, there's a lot of people trying to meet the partners, and it's all online, and everybody's a bloody gamer now. Do you know what I mean? There's a many women out there gaming as men as they are, and all they
Yes.
need is a place to go. So I'm like, why the hell aren't there more arcades so these people can go and flirt and meet up and show off and do all the things that we used to do?
It's true. It's true. The fact is, the one of the winning strategies of finding a life partner is finding somebody who shares the same interests as you. And what better way to do that than go to an arcade, play games, meet people? Heck, you might even find the love of your life
Yeah,
in the arcade.
I'm married to a woman who always eats all the credits up on Golden Axe. and if I could find another woman and divorce her, I'd do it tomorrow. So
Oh my goodness. Okay.
that's why I'm
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Okay, but it's true. It's true. The fact is, culture is what binds people together, and you're right. I guess the internet is the meeting of minds, but the personal meeting of people. Nothing can compare to that. Nothing can compare to meeting people face to face. Shaking hands, challenging them onto games. Finding common ground. It's just something that is irreplaceable. Viraj Kathwalia says, "Nah, I just want a woman that'll make me some damn good food. I'm easy like that." Well, good for you, Viraj. The fact is, and there's an old saying, "A way to a man's heart is through his stomach." Well, it's still true. It's still very, very much true. All right, excellent. Very good presentation, Dan. All right, so now I would say we're close to winding down the show. We'll just really quickly go through game events that we participated in, like tournaments or meetups or things like that, and game markets we went to. So I think Miss Eileen touched on it a little bit. But Joe, if you can fill us in on those things that happened when you went to the Philippines, it would be most appreciated.
So we got the RGCP anniversary convention, Caloocan. As what Miss Eileen forgot to mention, it was a small venue. It was quite hot, like honestly. And then
Because of the number of people that actually showed up too. I think it's because of the fact that a lot of people have the term in Filipino is nakawala sa koral. Everybody
Right.
just had cabin fever, and this was one of the first major events that Filipinos got the chance to really go out to and gather and mingle.
Because of the whole pandemic thing, the RGCP convention went on hiatus for 2 years, and this would be the first time since the pandemic hit that all of the sellers were pretty excited to be back selling their hardware,
Their wares.
software. So as the consumers and the collectors are pretty much excited at the time. So everyone was pretty excited and showed up there. And then a month later, you got the Game Boy PH mini market, of course. And then just recently, December 4.
Oh, shout out to JR Apilan. Shout out to JR Apilan for that one.
JR. And so your RGCP year-ender, year-end event, December 3rd, December 4th, a few days back, and the whole PRG was able to cover all 3 events. Oh, the RetroCon as well. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty
Fruitful,
busy
busy and
and
fruitful
progressive,
season. Hmm.
proactive, proactive representation for the PRG members to show themselves out there, out of the streams, into the streets.
Yes, nice tagline right there, Joe. Because of the fact that like Miss Eileen says, retro is starting to become a big thing in the Philippines. Retro gaming is something that Filipinos have found to be what's the right word for it? Innate to them. It's something that they grew up with, and it's something that they tend to want to share with each other and their children. So a lot of people have really started getting into it in the Philippines, and it's a big thing. And more power to more power to Pinoy Retro Gaming, more power to to RGCP, and to all the retro game vendors that are available in the Philippines. I hope you guys are ready, because there's an insatiable appetite for Filipinos for retro gaming now. You guys had better be ready for that one. How about you, Dan? Have you been to a lot of gaming activities and conventions recently?
Mate, really just that arcade. That's about the only one. I've got a few places local to me that I pop into now and again, but it's been quite rare, really. I've had a few other bits and bobs I've been focusing on. So that was my real get out the arcade one.
Well, that's definitely still something that was quite an exciting little presentation that you gave, and I think it impacted Miss Porter in the chats. She says, "Seeing that makes me miss going to arcades." Hey, who knows, Miss Porter?
It's a dying breed, actually. Even here in
Yeah.
Australia, all you have is just claw machines,
Yeah.
those coin op machines that gives out little toys, ticket awards. I mean,
Oh,
like unlike the actual arcade games, you hardly see them anymore. Even in the Philippines. I mean,
well, the thing about it is, with the rise of retro gaming, who knows? Some entrepreneur in the Philippines might take it upon himself to start off an arcade again, the same way that it was way back when people really flocked to arcades. It might become a big thing. Who knows? The idea of some people, they're what is the saying? The way to get rich is to provide a service that everybody wants, that nobody's thought about providing just yet. So if you're first to market, heck, you might strike it rich. Quick invitation to the entrepreneurs in the Philippines. You guys might want to try that out. So those are the things that we've been to. Me personally, I was supposed to go to the Long Island Retro Convention this past month, but I got a little under the weather. I just wish that I could have gone. If you guys want, you can check out the Long Island Cradle of Aviation. They posted pictures there of people cosplaying and playing the classic video games, not just the consoles, but also arcades. You guys might want to check that out. And if it happens again next year, I'm definitely gonna go. But my personal forays into retro gaming have been to my local retro game store, Gans Media Retro Games. They provide great service, great games, and I'm just very happy to support local. I like supporting local retro game stores. I'm pretty sure Dan and Joe will agree with me on that one, because of the fact that we as retro gamers derive our enjoyment from retro games, but we are also the retro game store's lifeblood. We give the retro game stores the business. It gives them the motivation to keep going, and it's something that we should be doing. We should encourage local retro game stores. Shout out to my friend Dan Griffin over there in Ohio, who has a retro game store as well. These guys are going to be the lifeblood of gaming in general going forward. Me personally, that's my personal feeling on the whole thing. So those have been our game events that we participated in, game markets that we went to. Oh, I also forgot the events that the Pinoy Retro Gaming crew have been to the retro convention, the RGCP anniversary event, we have brought the banner of our gaming partner, Megacat Studios, as well to them. We have been promoting Megacat Studios in those venues as well. So shout out to Megacat Studios. They provide retro games in modern consoles. No, sorry. Retro games for your retro modern games that are available for your retro consoles. So if you guys want, check out Megacat Studios. They've got excellent games available for you. So
Megacat they're a great studio.
Yes, they are an excellent studio. They've got amazingly innovative games, creative ones. Check out their site. You won't be disappointed. So I would say that is a nice little wrap up of 2022. Let's do final thoughts then. I guess let's do final thoughts around the table. Let's do Dan. What is your final takeaway from gaming in 2022?
I think it's been a good year for retro gaming for me personally. Anyway, I think that, like I say, the launch of the Mini 2 has said to me that there's still a lot of interest in retro gaming. There's more that can be done. We're going to be looking forward to stuff like, hopefully, Master System Mini and Dreamcast Saturn Mini. Fingers crossed one day. It's great to hear about all your experiences from you two chaps and from Eileen, and I think that the retro gaming scene is still very strong, if not going to be stronger. Let's like I say, let's keep it ticking and see where we go from here, mate.
Nice. Yes, I completely agree with that one. Retro can only go up from here. Personally speaking, I think retro is the next wave. Joe, let's have your final thoughts on 2022.
As far as 2022 goes, for me, the most memorable would be, well, as far as the RPG community goes, you got your ports from the SNES and the PS1, notably your Grandia collection 1 and 2, for the PlayStation 1 that got ported for the Nintendo Switch, just got released for 2022. You got how do you say this? Live alive? Or live alive?
Live alive,
or
yeah.
Live alive?
Or live
Or
alive.
Or live alive?
Played it.
Yeah.
So originally for the SNES, then ported for the Nintendo Switch as well. You got your Trails of Azure, originally for the PSP Japan only, that got ported now to for your PS4 and your Nintendo Switch. There were a lot of ports, old games that got ported to the Switch actually. As Sir Dan mentioned, of course, your Sega Genesis Mega Drive 2 Mini, that hopefully I'll be able to buy a cheap one, at least the first version anyway. It's really hard to find one actually. The second version, it's still not available even here in Amazon Australia. Not even. So I still have to import it either in the UK or in the US. And there's still a lot more to look forward to for 2023 next year.
Oh yeah.
And with 2022, we're easing out with the pandemic. It's not as restricting, it's not as limiting as before. So we got a little bit more resurgence of games and certain events after 2 years of lockdown. So we're getting we're getting there. We're starting to we are resurfing, so to speak.
Resurfacing,
resurfacing. There you go. Resurfacing. Now that we're a little, now we have more freedom to play. We got a little more. Actually, with 2 years of lockdown, we have a lot more time. staying indoors playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
that was basically the theme. The people started playing games more while we were locked down, and there was a boom, and it was very beneficial to retro gaming.
There were
If you ask me personally.
there were a lot of streamers out of the sudden for the last 2
Hmm.
years
Yes,
because everybody stayed at home. Don't
yes.
have anything better to do. Okay, I'll just buy a camera, set it right in front of me, and then play, show some boobs, and then yeah,
I was trying to avoid that, Joe. You just had to bring it out there.
show some boobs.
I
and
know.
then get paid.
I, although to be perfectly honest, that era is gone because of the fact that people have gone back out to real life now. I do remember about a year and a half ago when you look at all the streamers. You're right, Joe. There would be nothing but we called them booby streamers, I guess. I'm sorry sorry children, but yeah, that's that was the in thing back then because it was a really quick way to gather an audience. Just the large screen would be you with your tits hanging out, and the small window would be the game that you're supposedly playing. But but yeah, that era is gone.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I like boobs just like the next person.
yeah.
But if I'm going to look at boobs, I rather watch something else rather than a girl holding a joystick. I would rather watch a girl with boobs out holding an actual joystick.
I was gonna say, I was gonna say you could have taken that statement multiple ways, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we have just shifted our show's age rating to R. Okay.
Show's almost done anyway.
Yeah, show's almost done. But yes, in general, I think there was just a very quick pahabol, very quick afterward. There was a little bit of news that came out on a news site now that a lot of streamers are starting to get fatigued from their streaming their modern games, and I posted it on my page and I said a lot of streamers nowadays haven't tried retro, and it actually shows. All right, streamers, if you guys are getting fatigued with the modern games that you keep playing, try some retro, because retro is the way to go. That is my personal motto. All right, Joe. So I guess take it away. Just play us off then.
All right, so that is our gaming experiences of 2022. There are a lot more to cover, guys, but 2 hours is all we can do. So we will do our shameless plugging. Sir Dan, where can they find you?
The Facebook Sega Genesis group, that's where we're all at. And in the meantime, keep following these lads, Timeless Gamer.
All right. How about you, Sir Joel, where they can find you?
Here in Bud Lake, New Jersey. But in online, you can find me here on twitch.tv. You can check out my page, Manyagang Native. I try to stream sporadically. Yeah, it's a word that I learned from an old movie called Clue. No, it's Clueless. And if you guys want, you can check out my page. I have some old videos there. It's Banyagang Native here on Facebook as well. And I tried to set up my YouTube channel. I will try to populate that channel with some of my old videos. But generally, you can find me in the Pinoy Retro Gaming main page. I do my very best to try to interact with people. And of course, here on Timeless Gamer, the premier retro gaming podcast. I am putting that out right now, and I'm going to challenge anybody who says otherwise. All right, back to you, John.
And just to promote the show. Oh, before we promote the show, mega love shout out to Viraj, to Enslin Porter, to Sir Juan De Marcos, to who else is in there?
Baruna
Baruna
Roita was there, Sir Pao, and let's see who else. Rica Marcelo, thank you very much for passing by. Let's see, a lot of other people. We might not be able to mention you, but we highly appreciate you having passed by and said hi at the very least. Your company is highly appreciated. We are every single person who passes by the chats and interacts with us, we always treat as our very best friends, because we love retro gaming, we love retro gamers, and we love you.
And to catch our archived shows, you can go to the YouTube channel, uh, Timeless Gamer PRG, and for our audio podcast, you can go to Amazon Music, Audible, Spotify, Google Podcast, and Apple Podcast. To if you just want to listen to us talk, that's fine. We got you all covered. And that's it, guys. Thank you all so much, and that wraps up our final show for 2022. We will see you next year sometime in January. Hopefully with new topics for you, and incoming for the sixth season as well. And on behalf of Sir Dan, Sir Joel, Sir Carlos, Sir Siebert, Miss Eileen, and Miss Charlene, who can't be here at the moment. Our games and our bodies may go out of date, but our gaming experiences will forever remain
Timeless. All right. Merry Christmas, everybody.
PRG will also have their Christmas party, podcast after the show. See you there.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. See you guys at the parties. All right. Okay. Bye.